Bigotry. Intolerant to those holding different beliefs or opinions. Bigotry is part of tribal behavior. Typically, people are easily swayed to conform their opinions to a group, try to increase the group's status and therefore their own status by supporting those opinions, think more people agree with their opinions than actually do, and think people who disagree with their opinions have something wrong with them, i.e. they're crazy, stupid, or immoral. I'll tell you about the time I felt like I'd left a cult. I pride myself on being able to change my mind when I'm wrong. I remember fondly times at school when I asked a stupid question or said something which was way off reality. Then the teacher laughed, telling me how wrong I was, and I laughed at how wrong I was, and my mind was changed in a matter of seconds. I don't like being wrong, but finding out you're wrong is the only way to get to being right. But I was a kid then. Being a grown-up and having tied oneself to this or that worldview, it is not so easy to laugh off being wrong, as your friends, job, and identity can be tied up in the thing that may be wrong. It's difficult to laugh off losing your friends, job, and identity because you changed your mind. This requires a commitment to truth. I don't remember ever believing in a God. I may have when I was very young. I think I got confused thinking Father Christmas was Jesus' dad, so I think they left at the same time. Flash forward to when I was 38. I thought I was pretty clever, thinking I know what reality and consciousness are. I would think, if only everyone thought the same as me, the world would be a better place. Why are people religious? I thought they must be crazy or stupid. I wanted to convince religious people to see reality as I saw it, so I got interested in why people have their ideologies. It didn't occur to me that I had an ideology. I was normal. I wasn't stupid or crazy. The 2015 UK general election was coming up. I had changed my politics over the years. I voted Liberal Democrat in my early 20s, then went far left. I called myself an anarchist at one point, and also a communist. I remember saying to my dad, I wanted to take down Western civilization and meaning it. Now I want to save it. Quite a big difference. In 2015, I had mellowed a bit and called myself a socialist. Lots of people I knew thought the same way as me. People who disagreed with me were stupid or evil. So the election results came in. I voted for the Green Party, of which I was a member. I was sure the Conservatives would be out of power this time. I was shocked that they won an even bigger majority than they already had. My model of reality did not make an accurate prediction. Eventually, my thought was, why would so many people vote against their own self-interest? Then I thought, maybe they didn't. Maybe there's something I don't understand about politics. Not something I had thought for a while. I was cocky and didn't think it was complicated. There were goodies and baddies. But now, it didn't make sense that most people in the UK were stupid or evil. I realised I didn't understand why people would vote differently to me. I lacked empathy for people who disagreed with me, like I lacked empathy for religious people. I couldn't see things through their eyes. This could be called my red pill. I started to genuinely try to empathise with people who I disagreed with, instead of thinking they were crazy or stupid or evil. I listened to people on YouTube trying to see things from their point of view, rather than thinking of reasons why they were wrong and I was right. And after a solid 3 months of really trying to empathise with right-wingers and religious people, I finally realised I had been a bigot. They weren't stupid or crazy or evil. I could empathise with them, and I understood I had an ideology. Far from most people agreeing with me, I was in a tiny minority. I had been blinded to the real-world consequences of socialism because I felt Western civilization was immoral and socialism was moral. I forgave all of socialism's failings. I believed the trope of it wasn't real socialism because how I imagined it in my head, it was great. It must be the West attacking socialist countries that makes them fail, I thought. So now I call myself a classical liberal. I know people have different definitions of liberalism. I make a clear distinction between liberalism being for equal rights, free speech, private property rights, and limited government, and socialism being not for those things. Socialists want equal outcome, which overrides equal rights. They love controlling speech, don't value private property rights, and want a powerful government to force other people to help other people. I think the link between atheism and socialism is real. For religious people, God is taking care of the big picture, and religious people are instructed to work on their own souls and a limited sphere of influence, helping their local community. The government is not higher than God and should stay out of people's lives. For atheists, there is no God, no one is taking care of the big picture, so humans have to do it. The humans who are in charge and have all the political power can make the world just how they want it, I thought. So why make it like this? I thought it was deliberate. I thought the people in power were capable of making a complex system such as a country work just how they wanted it to. I ascribed malice when incompetence was more accurate, and so deemed Western civilization as immoral. So it is natural for atheists to think government should be fixing all the problems in a top-down way, rather than the more bottom-up approach which religion offers. For an atheist, religion fixing problems doesn't seem like a good plan. I now think religion seems to be the best antidote to socialism, but atheists are reluctant to trade in one ideology for another. More atheists leads to government having more power to intervene in people's lives, becoming increasingly authoritarian. There is far less emphasis, if any at all, on people fixing problems for themselves. It sounds selfish to say the government shouldn't help others. People should help themselves using bottom-up organisation. Especially if you are an atomized atheist with no community to support you, with no culture of local charity, no local family because you moved to a new city for work. This plays into a feeling that it is better to help others than help yourself. It sounds more moral, but if everyone focuses on helping the person to their left, this is realistically worse than everyone focusing on helping themselves. How can I help the person to my left better than they can help themselves? It is easier for them to walk up the stairs on their own steam than for me to carry them up the stairs, and then the person to my right has to carry me up the stairs. My natural morality balks at this perceived selfishness. I think we have evolved to live in groups of 100 people or so, in which a communist ethic might be the best system. But scale that up to 100 million people, and it doesn't work so well. So our natural morality, from which we derive our political beliefs, is a mismatch for modern times. I used to think there was nothing to understand about politics. I thought it was just about morality, and if you disagreed, then you were defective morally. I hear people making this argument still, as if children should be in charge because they are pure and uncorrupted, and there is nothing to know about politics. Left-wing people typically want the voting age lowered because you don't need to be wise, just moral, while right-wing people would rather it was raised, because young people are naive. So it is common sense for me that communism is the best system, but I don't trust my common sense. It is common sense for me that the world is flat. I don't walk down the street thinking the earth is a sphere and most of the sky is below me. I have to try really hard to picture that. My common sense is that the earth is flat and the sky is above me. But I know that's not true thanks to scientific training. The same is required for political training. My common sense that socialism is the best doesn't match reality, so I have to laugh it off and understand that I was wrong. This is where a lot of people stop thinking and become conservatives. Just because socialism doesn't work, it doesn't mean left-wing people or right-wing people should give up trying to make things better. Capitalism or corporatism obviously has its problems. We should try to come up with some original ideas, hence my space credits video. Clinging to socialism at this point is just desperate, and historically requires the population to be demoralised and depressed enough about the current state of things to give socialism another try. This is why socialism has degraded into depressing propaganda, telling us everything is bad when everything is actually steadily getting better. So I realised I had been a bigot and saw the mainstream media in a different light. I felt like I'd left a cult and most of the mainstream media was still in it. TV journalists are like celebrity preachers who are more interested in having people like them than speaking the hard truths. They are more famous and influential than most politicians. They are the atheist priestly class who moralise to us, but have been corrupted as all politicians are, giving politically correct truths rather than honestly correct truths. Honestly correct truths would get a mob after them just as quick as the politicians are mobbed. I am old enough to remember journalists with a wink and a smile talking about how we shouldn't expect politicians to be honest. Now the journalists can't be honest either. Comedy is different after you've left a cult. Simply slagging off right-wing or religious people wasn't a laugh riot anymore. My lefty friends had no one who disagreed with them, so I tried to play devil's advocate to make them see the other side. I went overboard and pissed off a lot of my friends. It was like a little death. I had killed off a part of myself in order to grow. A scary thing to do. I voted for Brexit based on my understanding of how countries work, not for personal gain or because I don't like Europeans. Many Remainers were overtly bigoted towards Brexiteers, assuming they were stupid or evil. For years, Remainers would demonstrate their inability to empathise with Brexiteers with incredulous looks on their faces as they asked why, as if they couldn't think of one good reason. They weren't trying to understand, and the explanations I gave were ignored as lies to cover up the real evil reasons, or denounced as stupidity if they were being charitable. The Brexiteers who weren't evil had been fooled by the evil ones. This reminded me so much of myself when I heard people who disagreed with my politics when I was young. I didn't listen, didn't accept the reasons gave as being genuine, refused to even try to empathise. I feel like empathy is the key to avoiding the now widespread bigoted politics from both left and right. But it took me months of concerted effort to get out of my old way of thinking and truly empathise. I see no evidence of anyone else abandoning their ideology any quicker than my 3 months. I expect left-wingers will say I am right-wing, and right-wingers will say I am left-wing. I can see the thesis and antithesis, and I'm not satisfied with either. Now I feel like I'm in the third act and want the synthesis of the two worlds. When I catch myself thinking that someone who disagrees with me must be stupid or crazy or immoral, I know that's not correct. It is my standard human bigoted tribal reflex. They disagree with me just because it is their ideology, their way of trying to be a good person. This outlook means I can be a classical liberal and reject the desire to be authoritarian and have everyone agree with me. I don't want that anymore. I see how vital free speech is. We don't need or want everyone to think the same. We can be a better team with differing perspectives than if we all thought the same way. A little piece of me has died, and I feel wiser for it.